Another improvised dress today. I'm going to use a similar pattern to before, a little tighter in the waist, 3/4 length sleeves because that's all the fabric that I had of this print. Just like before, we just serge together the shoulders on one side of the front and back bodice piece. And we go around with our trim, decide what color we want on the outside versus what color we want on the inside. I think I want to do the yellow with the purple. So we have the yellow facing in. I'm working with a stripe trim, so you've got to be a little more careful when you trim it. Make sure that it's the same colors and that you give just enough space for your serging to be covered and your colors to match up. It's a little more tricky, but not too bad. I'm also going to make this neck not as tight, just because of the style of the dress, and there's no waistband on this one. And now we take the shoulders and put them together. Okay. Yeah, good enough. Now we take our yarn needle, like before. Make sure it goes in the middle between the two. There we go. Skipped a couple threads there, but it should be fine. You can always go back over with your regular sewing machine to clean up that. When it's going over the really thick fabric, sometimes it'll skip a little bit. You can clean that up on your sewing machine. There's your little bodice piece. Looks nice. We can do our skirt. Just serge down one side and down the other side. Least possible effort. There's your skirt ready to set aside. Then we can do our sleeve trim. I think I'm gonna have the yellow show again because it's purple. So I put the yellow side facing toward the print. And line them up. Beautiful. Do that to the other side too. Okay, so now I'm going to sew the arm onto the shoulder. And I've pinned it. Just a couple spots since it's such a strange curve. And then I'll just pull out the pins as I go so that my serger knife doesn't hit them. Probably the most awkward part is doing the shoulders. Okay. So now you've got your nice curve sewn, and when you flip it the other way, you can see how nicely it lays. Gets that natural shape. And then I'll do the other side, and then we'll sew it to the skirt. So now I'm going to sew the sleeves down to the waist on each side, that path. And when I serge it, I'm just going to straighten it out. If you're sewing, you'd want to use a stretch stitch or a zigzag, and you could do the same thing. There you go. And again, it did the same thing where it missed a couple stitches close to the really thick part, and I'll just go with my sewing machine and just touch that little area up right there with a stretch stitch. A couple of missed stitches isn't a big deal. It did it again at the armpit too, right there. You can see it. I know the needle's sharp, so I know it's not that, but it's just dealing with the thick fabrics. Some sergers will do better than others, but it's easy to fix. Okay, now you've got your bodice made, with your sleeves all done, your neckline trim all done, and you're going to take your skirt that you serged earlier, and you're just going to put it so that the shirt is inside the inside out skirt. So that right side in shirt, inside the inside out skirt. Also, if you want to just turn a skirt and a shirt into a dress, you would cut off to the point where they would fit together and do the same thing. You can do this with anything. You can upcycle things you find at Goodwill or at a thrift store, or anything outgrown. An outgrown t-shirt can usually still be the bodice of a dress. So if your kid really likes a shirt that they've outgrown, it's too short or it's too tight to be a baggy t-shirt, you could then make a skirt for it with just the two serges down the side and turn the thing into a dress. I did that with my daughter. She had an outgrown school spirit t-shirt, and we just added a skirt to it, and everybody was super impressed because she ended up with a school dress instead of shirt. They only sold the shirts for the school, so it was a big hit. Super easy way to get the most out of a really favorite shirt. Or if you yourself have gained weight or just want to turn an old shirt from your childhood into a dress, if it still fits over your top, you can still make it into a more form-fitting dress. Just add a skirt. Everything lined up before you start sewing. And there we go. That's the whole thing. Take my yarn needle again. There's your little girl's dress. All you have to do is serge the bottom. I usually raise my differential a little bit, make it a little tighter, and then just fold it in, and press it, and then just sew it around. And that'll be finished. So now we're gonna do the hem of the dress. Basic for any of them. I serged it with a little bit tight of a serge differential, so it pulled it in just a little bit. I think it was on just under 2. And then I used the double stick hem tape, just because the washable kind that washes away when you know, the adhesive that washes away. And then I'm just gonna do a straight stitch, and it doesn't stretch because of the tape. Makes it super easy. You don't have to use the tape. It just makes it much easier for really small size stuff. Trim your ends. You can iron it to make it lay a little flatter. You can see your nice hemmed edge there. And then after it washes, the tape will wash out. Turn it right side in. There you go. There's your finished hemmed dress. Got your little cuffs. Got your neck trim. Nice stretchy neck. Waistline, stretchy waistline. And your pretty finished hem. You can also do it with pockets. You can add pockets into pretty much anything. You can even do it after the fact if you wanted to. But basically, right here on the side of the skirt, instead of going all the way down when you do the skirt, you can add your pocket shape and then just sew the pocket edges and then just attach the skirt above and below it a little bit. And then little pockets. You can do it after the fact by just seam popping and sewing it in around the pocket there. But I often make dresses with pockets. But for such a little kid, I didn't do it this time. I usually do a matching solid. Like for this one, I would use a pale purple probably. Or maybe even a light yellow. But, you know, I don't typically use the pattern because I don't have that much pattern fabric. So there you go. There's your little dress.